สวัสดีนะครับอาจารย์
ค่ะ
พี่ลงรอง Thanks for joining INABIS. Today you was one of the speaker at the seminar on um, digital television focusing on public service broadcasting. Now we already actually Thailand already have Thai PBS, which is a public broadcaster, and we also have Channel 11, which also claim to be public services. Could you tell us what program, what would be the definition of public service broadcasting?
Okay, I think we have to understand that there are different definitions used in Thailand as opposed to the internationally accepted definition of public service broadcasting, or what we call PSB for short. PSB, if we look at the definition in a historical context, PSB originates in Western Europe in the second quarter of the 20th century as the mainstream model of broadcasting, because that's when television broadcasting, well, before that, radio broadcasting and then television broadcasting was developed. And because frequency was scarce, so the Western European governments were trying to find means or ways to best maximize these limited resources. And they found that the public service model answered to that question the best. So they picked this as the main model of allocating and managing the limited resources. And that's how this renowned public service broadcasting organizations like BBC, for example, or Deutsche Welle in Germany, or RAI in Italy were developed. So by definition, public service broadcasting are public. They're neither commercially oriented nor state-owned. Okay, so they operate for public interest. They encourage people to participate in public life. They enrich people as citizens by giving them the right useful information, uplifting entertainment, and so many other things that would create an informed citizen.
In the country that you just mentioned, the UK, Germany, Italy, do the public broadcaster receive funding from the government?
Okay, very good point. Yeah, the funding part, to begin with, yes. As far as the BBC is concerned, I think it was the Crown, the seed fund for BBC establishment was given by the Crown Bureau. But as the organization developed, a different model was developed, which was called the license fee model. So all receivers or audience who want to access BBC have to pay a license fee, which is levied on them annually on if they own a television set, then they have to pay. I think the amount, the last time I visited the UK, it was like something in between 50 to 60 pounds per year.
And do you have any idea how the fundings for the public broadcaster in the other two countries you just mentioned? Italy and
Italy, it has
Germany.
evolved. It has evolved. I honestly don't know the original model, but right now RAI is 50% subsidized by the state, and 50% is self-generated through their programs and other things, and also by with commercial advertisements. But it's not really for commercial gain. But I mean, they also have commercial advertisements, but to a limited level. And Deutsche Welle was, I think, almost fully subsidized by the German government.
Yeah, if I'm not wrong, you yourself so involved when Thailand drafting the public broadcasting
Yeah,
act.
I was one of the commissioners.
Yeah, okay. And so, how do you think the funding will come from this? The digital public broadcaster.
Okay, we'll begin with the Thai PBS, which is probably the only standing in my mind, the way I see it, PSB station in Thailand. Thai PBS was developed on a very unique funding model because they don't want to. The main thing with public service broadcasting is that you have to get the funding in the fashion that it will be. The funding mechanism will shield it from commercial or state interference or influence. So in terms of Thai PBS, the model used was to draw upon excise tax. Like 2%, according to the Thai PBS law, 2% of excise tax will be allocated as funding, annual funding for Thai PBS, equaling something like 2 billion baht a year.
Yes.
Yeah, and so that the programming at Thai PBS will not have to be reliant upon advertising like other commercial channels. In that way, it's shielded. It's independent. You can guarantee the independence of the channel.
So, what will be the funding from for the new if they?
That's an interesting question, because as far as I know, the NBTC, the National Broadcasting and Telecommunications Commission, which is the regulator giving out licenses for public service broadcasting stations right now, are not looking into this as a criteria. As a matter of fact, they don't have any criteria per se to determine who is eligible for the PSB license in Thailand, other than looking at the law, the broadcasting law of 2008, which outlined that there are 3 types of public service broadcasting in Thailand, subtypes, which generally speaking could be concluded as the first type is public service broadcasting for public interest, basically, to entertain, inform, and educate, that kind of thing. And the second type is public service broadcasting for national security and public safety. And the third one is public service broadcasting to create a good understanding and relationship between the government and the citizens. Yeah. So they're just looking very strictly at the description given in the law in giving out preliminary speaking. They said this is all preliminary to give out licenses to, as far as I hear, for the first type, Thai PBS is getting 2 licenses, and second type, Channel 5, which is Army TV basically, and the third type, Channel 11 or National Broadcasting of Thailand, NBT, is getting it.
Do you think that Thailand, we are not really a rich country. We are definitely far from being a rich country. Do we need such a number of
PSB channels?
24.
Yeah, very poignant question, because if you look at the number of public service stations in country like the UK, which is comparable in terms of geographical size and number of population, there are 4 PSB channels, and the one that is full-blown, I would say, full-fledged PSB is BBC. They have Channel 4, Channel 7, which are also public service broadcasting, but not to the same level and the same intensity as BBC, and they only have 4. We talk about TV, but there are a number of other radio stations and online channels too. So, and whereas in Germany, I think there are 2. Okay, and Germany is a bigger country than Thailand, and there are only 2.
And I think US only 1.
Yeah, US only 1, but US is different. That's the model that focuses on the commercial one.
Yeah.
And Italy has only 1 too.
So, would you say we can have too many?
It's interesting. I don't know how the NBTC come up with the number of licenses for PSB. They never said, what it was based upon. It was based upon research. It was based upon public hearing or some kind of gathering of public opinion or something, or expert interviews. I don't really know how they come up with that, but it will be difficult to maintain, to make it sustainable in that amount.
NBTC itself keeps saying that they plan to keep out the licenses for the public broadcaster in June or in the third quarter of this year. And many people say that it's probably wise they have to be such a rush for them to do so. What is your perspective on the timing?
I guess there has to be some kind of agenda, behind all this rush. And if you look at the NBTC, the way they are designed for, their 2 main tasks is to allocate frequency, as the law that created them spell out, and the other one is regulation. So the frequency allocation is by giving out licenses, right? And there are 3 types of broadcast license as the law outline a public service, commercial, and community. So digital television, as it's projected to the public, is going to really revamp the entire industry. And I think this is set out in the master plan as the way to go. You know, Thai people tend to be very obsessed with new technology, and with the fact that right now a lot of other countries have already gone on the digital path, and Thailand is way behind in terms of digital switchover. And by putting this digital switchover and giving out digital TV licenses flagship policy, I think that's what the NBTC is trying to fulfill, because they already announced in the master plan that this is in terms of the smaller board, the National Broadcasting Board, which is under the NBTC. That's the main goal. So I think they're trying to fulfill that. Yeah.
Do you think that they should give out the license for the commercial channel first, rather than for the public broadcasters?
I think everything should be done probably in parallel. I don't see any reason why this should be given out in different time. I mean, there's not really any. NBTC has subcommittees working for them who are responsible for different issues and topics of work. So they have committee working for commercial TV. They have committee working for PSB. So I mean, there's no reason why it couldn't be done in parallel. And actually, it should. And for your information, there's not really a defined amount of frequency that has to be allocated for PSB or commercial. The only sector that the law spells out that there should be a minimum level of allocation is community service, which is 20%.
Okay, thanks very much นะครับอาจารย์พี่รงรอง for joining our service. Hope you will join us again in the future.
Okay,
ขอ
my
บคุณมาก
pleasure.
นะครับ
ค่ะขอบคุณค่ะ